This segment is all about planning for your business exit. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment is brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books published to lead their field, educate consumers, and grow their businesses to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Brett Spencer. He's the founder of Impact Financial. Brett, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brett, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of clients that you help?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a certified financial planner and help clients manage their, investments, cash flows, planning, tax planning, and it's a little more specific on who I, focus on. Business owners are a great a fit for me. I have a certified exit planning designation to help business owners plan for that eventual exit of their business. And I have another designation that focuses on working with international cross-border issues. So if you happen to be an international business owner, that's hitting both of those areas of expertise. But that's a quick high level of some of the work that I do.
Terrific. So, one of the goals of this series is really to shine a spotlight on the importance of exit planning because we feel that not enough people know about that. Can you tell me your experience working with business owners? How prepared are they really when it comes to exiting, or do they have any misconceptions around it?
Yeah, well, I'll lead with a misconception maybe because for some reason that sparked a thought initially there, but I don't like the word exit planning because it's not necessarily you don't need to exit the business after you've done the planning. Exit planning just gives an owner options to say, okay, I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to leave this business, whether I, get kicked out, die, or do it on my own terms. And planning ahead at least gives you the options to say, okay, here's a few different routes this could go. Um, Thinking about taxes ahead of time, and growing your business. A lot of times that is the end result of the planning work to say, you know what, this is exciting, and I realize if I do this and that, we could grow the value, we could get better, income streams. And so sometimes exit planning leads to more growth and more, business owners saying, I'm staying, I'm even more passionate about running the business. So that's one misconception. And I'm forgetting if there was the initial part of that question that I've forgotten now, but remind me if there's
No, the
more.
misconceptions is great. That covers it well. And tell me about, to your point, does that mean that there's a right time for planning exiting when before you're about to sell, or is it almost sounds like just really good business practices? It almost sounds like you can start exit planning at any time, and it's always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say the sooner the better. Strategies take time to analyze and to implement. And, you know, depending on the situation, you might say, okay, we're going to spread out some income streams and do some things spread out over a number of years. So the sooner you have that game plan, the more options you have and the better prepared that you'll be. And another thing too is planning helps protect what you have. So it's a little bit of insurance planning, but also asset protection, how things are titled. So there's that's like as soon as possible, do that planning.
So as you begin to work with business owners, have you ever spotted like any big common mistakes that you find a lot of them make, any mistakes or pitfalls that could be avoided?
There's a number. The first one that comes to my mind, I think, would be a combination of tax planning and savings, retirement savings, or I'll throw in there maybe I guess like just general benefits. I think a lot of times owners get going with their business and it's busy. There's a lot of things you're running, there's a lot of things you're doing, and your business is a good investment, right? So putting money back into the business makes sense. But to take the time to slow down, and think about, okay, if I put money over here instead, maybe that would help out with taxes. Um, I find a lot of business owners haven't taken the time to really think out their retirement plan, whether that's a 401k, cash balance pension plan, SEP, simple, all the differences there. And then I know I kind of threw in there the benefits side of it. There's some interesting things you can do with like long-term care, and just some like random fringe benefits that you can implement and get tax deductions on, as the business owner. So I think that's a big piece that owners a lot of times don't take the time to slow down and plan because hey, the business is making money. It's doing well. So
It sounds like exit planning is really the center of a lot of number of things, as you mentioned, like with tax planning, and you mentioned things like uh, long term care. That's like elder law. So it sounds like you're really coordinating a lot of other folks as well.
yeah, yeah, I've heard a few different analogies on that where it's like your general practitioner for the doctor, and you can bring in other experts. I also like the general contractor for a house, because I like the blueprint analogy. So yeah, an exit planner, financial planner, is really kind of I'll go with the general contractor analogy. Can kind of help map out all the things, knows if a pipe is going to run into electrical wires or not, and needs to be able to be a team player to bring in that plumber or electrician. Same thing with planning to say, hey, we need an attorney that specializes in this, or an accountant, or an insurance provider. So yeah, it's a nice position to start with the planner and figure out how all the pieces fit together.
Brett, what inspired you to get into this field and lead you to you work specifically with business owners? How did you get started?
Yeah, a couple things. So my father was a business owner, and he was a business owner in a small town. That town had a steel mill that employed most of the people, and it shut down while I was a kid there. So I saw firsthand a few different things. One, the work, the risk, the initial struggle that starting a business involved. I saw, the through my father's business, the staff, the employees, what you're able to give back to the community. He and our family, there's community events and things that we were just involved with. And then, the steel mill, the impact of that business, closing up. And that's yeah, that just was impactful for me to see that, and so it's very meaningful to be able to work with an owner to say, I know you're putting in a ton to this. I know there's a lot of risk. There was probably a lot of struggle up front, and your work means a ton. It means a ton to the people around you, and and there's not a lot of resources for those owners. I mean, you don't have an HR department to help you with the planning. It's all on you. So yeah, that's a little bit of what led me to work with owners.
Before I ask you my last question, in regards to exit planning, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share with business owners?
Good question. You asked a lot of good questions. Any other follow-up questions? I maybe to think if you're an owner to kind of think I think a lot of owners, like what are they going to do once they sell the business? That becomes a very big part of your life. To yeah, I think that's another big step and a big process, and shouldn't be discounted that you've had all these hours and all these this focus on the business, and to spend some time to really think what life looks like after the business. I think that's a pretty important consideration as well.
Sage advice. Brett, for business owners listening who would love to speak with you and perhaps get your help, how can they reach you, find you, and connect?
Yeah, absolutely. So business is Impact Financial. maybe a little confusing with my domain. It's planning impact. And so I think of that just like, hey, we're going to make sure that we're planning impact with the plan and the work that we do together. So you can find me there. My phone number 312-332-6589. And I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all the trying to get out there on social media. So yeah, Brett Spencer and Impact Financial.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark. It was a pleasure talking about it. Thank you so much.
That was Brett Spencer. He's the founder of Impact Financial. And the segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books published to lead their fields, educate consumers, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.